Hello and welcome to Tea Break Film Reviews, where we drink tea and talk about films. My name's Michelle, and I'm here with fellow film buff Victoria, and today we are going to discuss The Fabelmans, directed by Steven Spielberg and nominated for 7 Academy Awards this year, including Best Picture. Based heavily on Spielberg's own childhood, this film follows aspiring filmmaker Sammy Fabelman as he explores how the power of movies help us see the truth about each other and ourselves. And I think that's a great place to start the discussion, which is the question of how did this film portray filmmaking? What do you think? How do you think it did in terms of showing the film industry and that side of the story?
I honestly think they did wonderfully.
Gunnar has so many opinions.
Sorry, Gunner's too.
It's all right, we shall wait. Gunnar clearly has a lot of thoughts about this film.
He got kicked out of the room.
I see. Because he's
Yeah,
too vocal
sorry.
about the opinions on the film. It's okay, I
Hey,
understand.
we watched it together and he seemed to really enjoy it. I don't know what he's getting all up in arms about. But I think the way that it portrayed filmmaking was really wholesome and it really warmed my heart personally. And it shows that it can be a really good outlet for someone going through whatever, you know.
hmm I think it
Uh,
portrayed a nice journey from that first time he experienced film um, in the cinema and then going on to want to use his dad's camera, starting to film stuff. It felt very natural as there's the source of inspiration and this is how
Absolutely.
he gets to be a famous director. Well, I mean, we
I
don't get
I
that in
love
the film, but we know who he's going to end up being.
yeah. I loved how forthcoming the mother was with supporting supporting him
hmm
making films and recording everything. I loved how the family really helped push that interest rather than squander it.
Yes. And they had such an interesting relationship between the more technical, scientific mind of the dad and the artistic streak of the mother. And that balance in the family that at some point becomes an unbalance. But within Sammy, it really felt like there was both of them. Although he was kind of, I don't know, fueled by the art and the side of his mother, he still found the technical aspect really exciting. He found the camera exciting and the editing machine and splicing it all together and then organizing, the special effects when they do the war, the little war film. So
Yeah.
even though he was taking after his mother more, his father's influence was still really nicely felt.
Yeah. The father driving him to every set and
Mhm,
supporting him in that way, I think, is really heartwarming.
mm,
The with the war scene, I did
mhm.
love how they mentioned the special effects and how they're doing it with the pinholes and everything. The just the ingenuity of it. I really love that scene.
Absolutely. I I really enjoyed seeing that because filmmaking nowadays, we've gotten to that era of people making films on their iPhones. So
Mm-hmm.
seeing a film that so cleverly portrays the early filmmakers and obviously the film industry had been alive before then, but this generation that is portrayed, Sammy and his peers, were sort of the first people who got to make films reasonably on a budget at home with at home cameras.
Yeah.
rather than being the big studios that only they could afford it. So
Yeah.
it's fascinating knowing how the industry is now compared to then and having it be actually pretty close in terms of years. The lifetime of Steven Spielberg is that advancement in home video, basically.
True. True. Uh, do you know the first fan fiction?
The first, in what way?
Nosferatu. That's
Oh
one of
yeah.
the first fan fictions. Yeah. There's only one original copy left because they destroyed all the
Hmm.
others, and that's the one that's circulating. But I thought that which that just made me think of that. Sorry,
Hmm. No, that's
complete derailment. Uh, but seeing how that has progressed, going from Nosferatu, an
mhm,
original fan fiction, to being able to have kids hold the cameras
mhm.
and see through the kids' eyes is wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah. And even just small moments were quite touching. Like you said, like with the piercing the film to create the gunshots and his dad being so
Mm-hmm.
excited by that realization that his son had thought of that. And then when he goes and films, you know, the trivial day out of his school friends, but his girlfriend has that moment where she like nudges his cheek to see through the eyepiece. It was so
Mm-hmm.
sweet. Just
Yeah.
like obviously we're looking through it, but like you said, looking through the eyes of Sammy specifically. And we
Yeah.
also want to see, you know, we're her. We're like, what are you, how are you making this interesting? What's going to be the final product of this fairly boring day out, you know?
Right.
In comparison to his war epics, this is a fairly boring day out. Um,
Yeah. One I remember one of the scenes that was played um sorry. They they zoom in on someone's neck and like you notice the pulse, and that was one of the moments that really struck me.
the
uh
grandmother, that was the
yes.
death of the grandmother.
Yes, which is like right after the camping
Hmm.
scene, I think. uh but it really made me stop, and I really appreciated that scene because it shows just how hard hitting that moment is, seeing it through his eyes, seeing that it could be portrayed as like him living is just his memory is like film.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
him zooming in on that, it was really memorable for me.
Definitely. And you can really tell that this is someone's memories. Even if he's changed the details, there are so many parts of this film where you, I don't know, as a writer I wouldn't think about including that, like the mother playing piano with her nails clacking on it. That is such, I can imagine that's such a strong memory that it
Absolutely.
makes sense, but I would never think about that, you know? Like it takes a certain kind of mind to just pick that up out of nowhere. But he clearly has that
Absolutely.
memory of that noise and playing piano with the nails. It's just
I bet he
fascinating.
could tell you what that room smelled like.
Exactly. That's precisely what this film is. It's just so evocative. Each
Hmm.
moment is so embedded in what actually people how they behave.
Yeah, it's really wholesome and
Hmm. And that heartbeat, absolutely.
full.
It's like, where else do you look in the room? You know, the camera, the viewers, we are forced to look at normally, you know, the deathbed, we see the hospital bed, we see the person. But through his eyes, he's looking specifically at that neck. And that's the
Absolutely.
strongest part of his memory.
Absolutely. Uh the uncle that we meet, of the brother to the grandmother.
Hmm.
I love that character.
Oh my God. The best,
Absolutely
I
loved
think the
it.
best character, right?
One of the best. Absolutely.
Hmm.
Absolutely. The way he is so he's just such a personality that fills the room
Yes.
that really pulls your focus.
He's so to the point.
Yeah.
He's not messing around. I
No,
loved
he wants
that.
what's best for you, and you can tell
He had some
that
of the best
he's had
lines
some
in the films.
regrets.
Yes,
Absolutely.
one of his lines is family art. It will tear you in two. And that's when he does like the motion that he does the breaking apart. And
Mm-hmm.
that's a summary of the film right there. That's what the film is about.
Absolutely.
And Uncle Boris was such a strong influence on the artistic side and on having that doubt over whether, Sammy's doubting whether he should do this as a career, just like his parents are, just like people are.
Yeah.
In general, at that time, it was still early, it was still entertainment, it wasn't, quote unquote, a career.
Yeah.
So having Uncle Boris just absolutely sweep away the competition with his like you said, his personality,
Yeah.
he steals the show, absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah. He the speech that he gives really touched me. I have I have some regrets like in theater wise. Like I never got to do it much because I was sick.
Mhm,
But so it really hit me uh during his speech and the way he was talking,
mhm.
trying to show him priorities, I guess.
Yeah, and just be honest, because Sammy's still young, it's not often
Absolutely.
like it depends what kind of parents you have, right? Some of them will just tell you what to do. Some of them will encourage you to follow your dreams and whatnot,
Mhm.
but Uncle Boris is there to tell you the truth. He's there to tell Sammy,
Absolutely.
I understand this industry and it's absolute hell. But if you love it, go for it. Like he actually gives the pep talk, the truth that Sammy needs to hear.
Yeah. Can I point out another scene
I will
that
just say that Neo mentions here that the uncle actor is nominated for an Oscar, and that's
oh really?
understandable. That's
That's
great.
wonderful.
He
Yeah,
makes such an
absolutely.
impact on this film. I completely understand
Yeah.
as to why he would be nominated. He supports the whole story within that, I
Yeah.
don't know, 10 minutes, 15 minutes? How long? This is a longish film. However long he's on there, he makes
Yeah.
an impact. So,
It
yeah,
fell
that's,
short.
yeah, I missed him when he left. I did.
Yeah.
But yes, go on. What scene were you
Um
gonna say?
oh, yeah. So, um when they're doing like a circular dolly shot around people talking or what I usually hate those. Absolutely hate them. Cannot. I think it's ridiculous. You get dizzy. Uh
Especially
this
if it's not
movie,
done well. You get super dizzy
yes.
if it's not done well. Oh my god. If
Yes.
it's done at a weird speed and you're just there like, oh
Absolutely.
my life is flashing before my eyes. Stop. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Uh the circular dolly shot that they did in this movie
Hmm.
was bearable and enjoyable even.
Hmm.
I would say.
You're talking about the one in um John Ford's office, right? Right near the end? Or is it a
Uh
different one?
the circle shot when he's editing the camping trip. So during that
Oh. Oh, that's
I didn't
I
even
did.
notice the second one, honestly, I don't think.
The second one was just to show the accolades, the room he's in, because we don't know what director he's going to visit. And so it
Oh
does
yeah.
that's the
Okay.
one
Yeah,
I was thinking
I
of.
didn't notice that one.
But I suppose the one you're mentioning in the bedroom is so immersive that I didn't even register what was happening with the camera. I was just in the
It was
moment with it.
smooth. It was smooth. It
Hmm.
was real smooth.
Yeah.
And also such a heartbreaking realization him editing the film is.
Yes.
Just
I understand that feeling of not coming upon something that suddenly makes you grow up, you know?
yeah.
He he wasn't prepared for that moment. He wasn't prepared to see that um within the family footage. And one of the descriptions of the film is how how he goes from knowing his parents just as his parents to knowing them as people. And that's a huge moment for any teenager or young adult.
Absolutely, absolutely.
There's
Having a face having a
mhm,
face that your parents are people is one of the biggest moments in your life, I feel like.
yes. This
Like
film
they're struggling
handled
just as much.
yeah, this film handled a lot of big moments really well.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Some of them were whimsical and delightful. Some of them were, you know, terrible, like the grandparent dying and the
Yeah.
finding out your mother loves someone else. There was,
Yeah.
but yet nothing felt kind of, what's it called? Not excessive, but nothing felt exaggerated.
Yeah.
They got in an argument, but they also just had a very calm conversation about her feelings and what she's done and how she feels about it. And that feels more truthful to a family conversation because it's not going to be always shouting. And often
Yeah.
in film, we only get the big fights. We don't get the aftermath or the I have to continue living with this person
Yeah.
discussion. So that was really meaningful.
Yeah.
What else did I want to mention?
I want a monkey because of this movie.
Oh my god,
It's
that
dangerous.
moment. There is something very bombastic about the mother. Very
Wild.
wild, yes. How did we like the ending? That is a good question. What did you think of the ending?
Um the ending is the shot with him with the old director and then him leaving, right?
Yes.
To be clear.
Yes.
I I really I really enjoyed the last shot. It felt very whimsical. It felt very final.
Mm-hmm.
It was a wonderful shot set up. I personally loved it. The meeting the director and the director how he acted was blunt and I could appreciate that for sure. For sure. And
It,
the scenes are just beautifully made.
yes. It was clever, and according to the trivia on IMDb, Spielberg only came up with that shot on the day to
Oh, okay.
to literally do what the character had just said to do. It was funny. It's funny in a super technical way. You know, it's
Yeah.
unexpected when you get something that's it's a joke just for the audience who very consciously are watching a film, you know?
Hmm.
It's not a joke
Yeah.
between the characters that you laugh at like oh, was it when they were at the dinner table and they were giving us some great jokes, like a laugh out loud kind of, oh, that was a good joke. But this
Yeah.
was more just trying to connect with the audience on a technical level, which does
Absolutely.
it's not
Yeah.
often you get that kind of comedy.
No.
It was great.
It is. It's wonderful. There were a few awkward scenes that I noticed in the movie, like audio and cut wise. Like
Interesting. Like which ones?
Um, well, I love Seth Rogen.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and he did wonderfully in this film, though I don't think this is his best part that he's done,
Mm-hmm.
solely because of one scene, pretty much. And when he goes up to Sam
Yeah.
and hugs him,
Mm-hmm.
there's just this really, it's just really awkwardly timed, and like that hug, there's an inhale. It's very particular for me, but
Though that's really um you what's it called? Like you notice the particular details. That's a very detailed analysis because I had totally forgotten how awkward that inhale made me feel. But you're
yeah,
absolutely right. It was
it pulled
that
me right out.
single inhale that I couldn't understand why
I would
that
have reshot
happened.
that. I would have 100% reshot that.
That's fascinating. I didn't even. I mean, I wouldn't pick on it just like if I were to watch the film again, but I would notice it
Mhm.
again. It is
No, it's
annoying.
not a huge it's not a huge thing. It's just a small thing where they should
Yeah,
have just reshot it,
that's so interesting.
in my opinion, because no editing is gonna make
Yes.
that, like, it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. Like, just sometimes things don't fit. The timing's not right. For that, the
Yeah.
timing was not right. And
Sometimes you notice things that
yeah,
take you
and
out of
sometimes
it.
you just need to reshoot it.
Hmm. And
And I don't
actually,
understand why some directors refuse to reshoot.
I think it's just a feeling, you know, sometimes when I've been looking at my short films and shots that I've picked, sometimes even though maybe a line is wrong or it wasn't exactly how I pictured it, a certain take will feel right. And a
Yeah.
lot of directors do this. The biggest thing, I forgot which director it was, but there's a big debate about continuity and
Hmm.
whether adhering to continuity is that important. And for me, because I'm a video editor as well as a director, it's like 100% important because I will notice when someone is holding a cup in the wrong hand or someone like had their
See, I
hand
don't
up
notice
in this
that
shot.
stuff.
I
I don't
notice it
really
all the
notice that
time.
stuff much.
But still,
That's
anything that risks taking me out of it, I would consider picking something that fits better. So that
yeah.
is no, that's a that's a very good observation, is what I wanted to say. Yes, um, it's interesting. One of the things that I came back with as a little nitpick is I think the actor who plays Sammy was wearing contacts. Now I understand that he needed to see, but especially when he was editing on the deck in his bedroom, there was a certain a lot of the shots. I mean, this film is beautifully filmed, but a lot of the
Absolutely.
shots of him were very close up, and I could physically see the contact lens in his eye.
Okay. I didn't notice that.
I don't
That's really
know
good.
if
That's a
it's
really
a
good
me
observation.
problem. Maybe it's a me problem, but I was so focused, I forgot what he was doing.
Yeah. That's just things like that will really pull you out of it, you know?
And it's not something that I normally look at, you know? It's not something that I don't think I've ever noticed in a film.
Sometimes it's just it just happens. You just notice that one thing and your brain just
Yeah,
hooks onto it.
that's what caught me off guard, and it's because they put so much light on him and his eyes specifically in that
Hmm.
scene. And it's
Yeah.
probably because it was on the big screen. I don't think at home I would have noticed it, but
Yeah,
I
I see.
just
I watched it at home.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think it would be
So,
fine. But I'm
yeah,
glad that we
I
both
didn't
have these
notice it.
things that we notice, and yeah,
Yeah.
it's fun and also very irritating. Certainly, it doesn't ruin the film for me, but I can't help.
Mm-mm.
You know, we might as well mention it. Just
Yeah,
make other
absolutely.
people
It's just,
feel okay about their if they too have
yeah,
such things.
you can have a wonderful movie and
Hmm.
still have, like, 3 trash shots in it,
Of course.
then that won't really affect the movie. It'll just affect the memory of the movie. That's
Yeah.
all. Or like just like small things that I notice. Like I hate when the audio doesn't match up with the lips
Yep, yep.
in conversations. It drives me insane.
I mean, that's part of the reason why we suggested to people to watch All Quiet on the Western Front in German, just because
Yeah.
you want to be
Yeah,
immersed.
that's very valid. Yeah, you got a good point there.
Come on now. Yeah.
uh the the religious girl in this,
Oh,
the
yes.
girlfriend,
It's a girlfriend.
I I had so much fun with that character.
So much fun. Oh, there went that scene in the bedroom. You know what? It's really in that moment when I feel like Spielberg is having fun. You know, he's just having fun with his memories, with the characters, with being at that age where everything, I think everything is so important when you're a teenager. You know, every moment. Your first kiss, obviously the parents breaking up, because
Yeah.
it's often the first time something like this is happening, and everything is crucial. And so to this girl, to have her be so connected to Jesus and then using it as a way to get this boy to kiss her,
Right.
it's such
It
an
was just
interesting
wild.
mix of the things she has learned from her parents, the religion she has taken on, and
Yeah.
I'm sure will give to her children. But it's that middle
Yeah.
ground of trying to figure herself out and also just taking into consideration her attraction and her
Yeah, the
hormones, you know?
awkwardness of growing
The
up
awkwardness.
will never be beat, really,
Yeah. And
in
it's
my
always
opinion.
fascinating. And I think,
We all have those moments
yeah.
where like we look back at them and we're like,
And I think that's one of the things Spielberg excels at. Like, he has made so many films, so many memorable films, but like Jurassic Park. Wait, let me go back through. There's a lot of stuff he's made. let me just let me just get the list up here. Um, E.T., Raiders of the Lost Ark, Jurassic Park.
sorry, E.T. Raiders of Lost. That sounds pretty interesting.
All of these films have children and teenagers that are having fun. And there's something so brilliant about that. He made a Peter Pan film in 1991. I think that was with Robin Williams, yeah. So
Mhm.
he has this great ability to evoke playfulness and the freedom of childhood in his stories.
Yeah,
You know, then he
absolutely.
makes he makes something like Schindler's List, and we're like, oh my god, this man's serious. But
Yeah.
but one of the things he excels at is childhood, is making us
Yeah, that
smile.
coming of age. Yeah.
And what
He
better
really
way?
brings out childhood. Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
And in this film he's bringing out his own childhood. And to me it's certainly I would say his best portrayal of that age because it's about him, you know.
Yeah, it felt too genuine to not really love this movie.
Incredibly genuine. I think that's a good way to describe it. It's a it's a film that feels genuine, and that's what makes
Yeah,
it so nice to watch. Just nice. But there's so
absolutely.
many films coming out where they try to make you feel something big, do something big, but oh my god, it's a breath of fresh air, frankly. This film.
Yeah, yeah.
It's quite
There
long,
weren't
but
plot points just to push the story along.
yeah, we're just watching this person grow up, and
Yeah,
it's a skillfully made coming of age tale.
yeah, yeah. I really like that it kind of started, or it can start a conversation about sorry, I just a conversation about like influencer culture and like leading up into influencer culture
Mhm.
rather,
Mhm.
and like manufacturing a new you. I
Mhm.
think I think this movie is a good jumping point for that conversation,
Yes.
honestly.
I think it's a good jumping point into our next review.
Oh.
But yeah, well, I think I mean, yeah, I think that's a good discussion of that.
Yeah.
Neo says reason many directors have tried to show their childhood. Indeed, I have noticed that a lot of the middle-aged directors, more 50s, 60s in age, are doing it. Are being influenced by it. Oh my god, what was the most recent one I watched? Oh, not most recent, but last year was Paolo Sorrentino's film about his childhood, an Italian director. That was also great. But yeah, it does seem to be a popular topic, which is fine. I will accept because with something this personal, it's never not gonna feel genuine, which is great.
Yeah.
It's what you want from a film, and it's difficult to write something that you haven't experienced.
Absolutely.
And you know what? I think it's difficult also to write something you have experienced and not ruin it with Hollywood, like with the filter of what do people actually want to watch? Just show me the truth. And it worked.
Just show me what you want to like, what you want to make. Whether it's
Hmm.
genuine will show,
Yeah.
honestly, I think. I think if you put your effort into it, it'll show in some aspect.
Yes.
Uh whether whether it's the aspect that you wanted it to be or not, you know.
Exactly. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
that was our discussion on The Fabelmans. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
Wonderful movie.
An absolutely wonderful movie, and we hope to see you on the next one, which for those people watching is in like 2 or 3 minutes. We'll be back. The shock! We will be back
See
reviewing
you next
Tar.
time.
So, thank you for watching. Do catch us on whatever platform for podcasting that you prefer, and we hope to see you next time.